You really think? No, it is hard to stop. Your point is well taken. I mean, if we could have stopped a lot of these things in the past, my guess is we would have done so. They aren't easy. But what do? You simply throw up your hands and walk away, saying it's an impossible job, and we're going to just have to ignore it. You can't ignore it. These are serious problems, and until we can find more effective ways to deal with the issues, we're going to continue to be mired in this very serious problem. My guess is that with greater emphasis and greater priority, greater effort, greater cooperation, we can do something about some of this. And I'm sorry you feel so disenfranchised, but I think the earlier caller made the point. We have a responsibility not only to promise but to act, and I think it's critical that we try to find ways to act effectively, and that's the search today. How do we do it effectively? And my hope is that with the kind of leadership that you can expect from both Democrats in the House and Senate, that can happen.
You know your fellow leaders well in Congress. Do you know the president well?
I don't know if I know him well. I had the experience of working with him for 4 years when he became president, so got to know him somewhat, but I don't think I know him personally.
I was going to ask, do you think he would change or could change his approach, the way he does business, if he is now facing a full Democratic slate up on the Hill?
Well, Paul, he's going to be in the final 2 years of his presidency, and he'll have a choice to make. Does he continue to play to his base, and does he move, as he has for the last 6 years, to the right to find any consensus on position? Or can he come to the middle and work with Democrats to try to govern? My hope is that he would see the failure of the past 6 years in that regard and come to the middle and try to find common ground. There's plenty of it there. There are a lot of Democrats who want to move forward and put this country on a better footing and a new direction. And it's going to take cooperation with the president for that to happen.
Newport News, Virginia, for Tom Daschle. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi.
I'd just like to say I am a retired military 20-year veteran, and I am in support of President Bush because he's the one that's the commander-in-chief, and he's in charge of our country. We're either going to lead, follow, or we're going to get out the way. Now, he is but one man. Of course, we need to stop dividing ourselves in Republicans and Democrats. We have to keep in mind that there are soldiers, men and women, that are over in foreign land. And our support is to those that are over there. Doesn't matter who caused the war, what was the cause of it, we have forces over there now. We have a responsibility to take care of those and to support them. We need to stop this division. As Americans, as we prepare to go to the polls, I just ask that everyone keep in mind, what is a new set of officials going to do? It takes a year to get yourself comfortable within the position that you're held. What my personal opinion is that we need to get those that are in the office, that are in those positions now, we need to get them to commit and to do the job that they promised us, that they said that they were going to do. We need to hold them responsible, hold them accountable. And all the listeners that are out there, we need to make sure that we're involved with them because we have to keep in mind, again, they work for us. And whatever they're doing, whatever they're not doing, we should be on them and be pressuring them to do their job.
Thank you. Mr. Daschle.
Well, I agree, especially with the last part. Certainly, all public officials work for the people they represent. And I think it is important to hold them responsible, as the caller has just said. I do think we have a fundamental responsibility, however, to draw a distinction between supporting the troops and supporting the policy. There isn't anybody in Congress, to my knowledge, who doesn't support the troops. In fact, we had huge fights about whether or not the troops were getting the support they need with regard to body armor and the kind of equipment they need to do the job in Iraq. But there's a big difference between that and supporting the policy. If we never challenged the policy, we'd probably still be in Vietnam today. But many, many years ago, people challenged the policy in Vietnam and concluded that it was the wrong policy. I think we're in the wrong policy today in Iraq, and a lot of American people share that view. I think it's time, after 5 years, to take a different tack, and that's what many Democrats support.
Back to the campaign itself now, Mr. Daschle. I'm not sure if you saw it or heard about it. The RNC has a brand new ad out. I want to take a look at it and then get your reaction, okay?
Sure.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
These are the stakes, says the ANC in one of their latest ads. What's your reaction?
Well, Paul, two things, I guess. First of all, this is just more of the scare the American people into voting Republican approach that we've seen in the last two elections, and they're trying it again. I really don't think it has the same impact, the same traction this time as it has before. The American people are more sophisticated, more skeptical than they have been in the past in that regard. And secondly, I don't think it's a very effective ad. There's too much text. It moves too quickly through these passages, and I'm not very impressed, frankly, with the quality of the ad itself.
The administration might say it's no mistake that there hasn't been another major attack since 9/11. How much credit do you give the administration for keeping this country safe?
Well, I think you could argue that we're less safe today than we were before. There are more political cells and terrorist cells around the world. We've got Korea now with a number of nuclear weapons. Iran is more threatening than it used to be. So I don't know that anyone can make the case with any authority that we're actually safer today than we were 5 years ago. And that's one of the concerns the American people have. They're concerned that, frankly, after all this talk and all this money, we don't feel safer than we should than we did back in 2001, and that's part of the debate going on in congressional districts all over the country.
You also wrote in the Washington Post recently that your own case still hasn't been solved. The unsolved case of anthrax. Remind us what happened 5 years ago.
Well, 5 years ago, on October 15th, my office was the office targeted with anthrax, about 3,000 times the lethal dose. A young intern opened it up, and 28 people were exposed, and we went through a horrific 6 months as we decontaminated an entire office building and worked to restore the health of those 28 people exposed.
Birmingham, Alabama, our next call. Hello there.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. First of all, I was calling, and I agree with you, former Senator Daschle. The ad don't do a thing for me because, first of all, I look at the fact, okay, why are we looking at Osama bin Laden? The Republicans have been in control of the executive, judicial, and the legislative for 6 years. We still haven't gotten bin Laden. So that's the way the American people are going to look at it. So that's not a fear tactic to me. And second of all, the point I want to make is that why are Republicans being so divisive about the things that the Democrats are going to do and who's going to be over the committees? First of all, they're divided because you're showing like black people like Conyers and Rangel and whatever. That's divisive. What's wrong with Conyers and Rangel being over committees? We got thieves that was already up there like Nate and whomever and Mark Foley over committee where writing laws where kids about abuse of kids, and look what happened with him. So what's the difference? And my last point is that why divide Speaker Pelosi? And I'm calling her Speaker because she's going to be, that's a female. What, men afraid of women being independent and high your office? What's wrong with that? That make me really want to vote for the Democrats now. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks. Tom Daschle.
Well, you've given it a lot of thought, and I endorse your logic completely. I think the American people are simply saying, look, we've seen what the Republicans have done these last 5 years. Let's give the Democrats a chance. Let's see what they can do. I think the Democrats have a responsibility, as earlier callers have said, to deliver, not just to talk, but to actually to deliver, to find the common ground, to govern, to restore some of the ability, once again, to believe